Hi, good afternoon and welcome back to class. This is our digital training class put together by the Cybersafe Foundation, and welcome to the data analysis class. I'm Engineer Faith Idu, your anchor person for this training. In our last lesson, you gave us an assignment that we should download the PostgreSQL app for querying data and load the database that file. I want to believe that we have done that because we'll be needing it for subsequent lessons. So for this lesson, we are going to be talking on writing SQL statements. You are already familiar with the word SQL, what SQL stands for. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. So today we'll be looking at writing structured query language statements. So structured query language statements here refers to very clear and simple sentences that we use to query a database. So SQL statements are written in applications or integrated development environments. So this could be cloud-based. Example of a cloud-based integrated development environment is the Google BigQuery here mentioned, or it could be a physical machine like the PostgreSQL that we are currently using that has been installed in our devices. So the SQL statements are generally grouped into 5. We have 5 types of SQL statements. We'll be looking at them one after the other. We have the data definition language, there's the data query language, there's the data manipulation language, there's the data control language, and the transaction control language. So we'll start by looking at the data definition language. So the data definition language consists of the SQL commands or the structured query language command that can be used to define the database schema. So it simply deals with description of the database schema and is used to create and modify the structure of database objects in the database. So these are simple words that are used to describe or define the database schema. So they include a set of SQL commands used to create, modify, and delete database structures, but not the data, the structure, but not the data. So it is put here that you should think of it as the command the bricklayer uses to build a house, which is the database, not the furniture in the house, which is the data in the database. So we have some data definition language commands listed here. We have the create command. This command is used to create the database or its objects like table, index function, views, store, procedure, and triggers. So they use the create command to do this. So there's an example here. You can try this in your PostgreSQL that you would have downloaded already the system, so you can just try this out on your own. For want of time, you might not be able to do this here, but you can try it and see what you are able to come up with. So we have example create table. So you have your column name for the table, and then the data, which is your column name, the data type attached to that column. Then we have the student's name. Student's name, of course, should be the text data type. That means it should be the text format. Then we have the matric number. That means we have 3 columns for this table: column name, student's name, matric number. Matric number in this case is a number, so it's an integer. So that's that. So we have the column name and the data type. Oh, this gives the description. So there are 2 columns here: student's name and matric number. Student name, the data type is text. That is like it comes in the form of letters, alphabet. So those are text. The data types are text, and then the matric number that comes in the form of numbers are integer. The data type is integer. So that's for the create command. Then next we have the drop command. This command is used to delete objects from the database. Example, drop table. So you put the table name. Next, we have the alter command. This is used to alter the structure of the database. So we have example alter table. Set the table name. You add constraint students primary key column. So just try this out. We have the truncate. The truncate command is used to remove all records from a table, including all spaces allocated for the records. So next we have the comments command. This is used to add comments to the data dictionary. It's usually signified by this. I hope you can see this where my cursor is usually signified by this. The quotation marks covering the iPhone. So for single line comments or this or multi-line comments. So we have single line comments, we have another comment. So for instance, select star from table, right? So for multi-line comments, you can see, we said use this for multi-line comments. So you can see the slash, the star, multi-line, it continues to another line. So by the time you get to the end of that comment that has entered another line, you put your asterisk, rather, you put your asterisk and your final slash. So now recognizes it as the same statement that has only entered another line, not a different query entirely. So that is for multi-line comments. So for single line comments, you have this select star from, you have your slash, you have your asterisk, that is the table name, that's for the single line comment. So next we have the rename. This is used to rename an object existing in the data. This command, we use it to rename an object in the database. So, for instance, we have example alter table name, rename to. So when you use this command, simply renames the table to the new name that you choose to want to. So the next one here we have, this is a mistake. This DML means data manipulative language. So this deals with the manipulation of data present in the database, the control access to data and to database. So some examples of data manipulative language commands are insert. Insert command here is used to insert data into a table. You want to insert, for instance, you want to insert a column, you want to insert values into those columns. So you can use the insert command to do that. Then updates. The update command is used to update existing data within a table. Example, update table name, set it, column 1 equals to this value, column 2 equals to that value, just like that. So you use this to update data that are already existing within a table. And then we have, remember, this is data manipulative language. So next we have delete. Delete is used to delete records from a database table. Please take note of this command. You might need to use them over time. So we have example, delete from table, where depending on the condition, so you use the delete command to carry out the delete function in your query. So next we have the data control language. Data control language includes command which mainly deal with the rights, permissions, and other controls to the database system. You know, not everybody should have access to make changes to your database system. So the data control language is very important. These commands are used to make changes within the, make or control changes within the data, within the database system itself. So for instance, examples of this command include grants. This command gives users access privileges to the database. The grants command gives users access privilege to the database. You can access the database and possibly make changes within the database. while the revoke command withdraws the user's access privileges given by using the grant command. Now, after giving someone access to your database using the grant command, and you want to take that access away, you use the revoke command to withdraw that particular user's access privileges to that database. So next, we have the transaction control language. TCLs, they are used when writing transaction SQL statements. Example includes commit, which commit a transaction, rollback, which rollbacks a transaction in case of any error that might have taken place. Then we have the save point, which sets a save point within a transaction, and then set transaction, which specifies characteristics of the transaction. So these are transaction control language, and these are samples of examples of commands within the transaction control language. So next, we'll be looking at the data querying language. So the data querying statements are used for performing queries on the data within schema objects. So DQL is the component of SQL statement that allows getting data from the database and imposing order on it. So we'll be using this most commonly in our lessons, in our training and practicals. So it includes the select statement. This command allows getting the data out of the database to perform operations with it. Like I've told us, I've given us an assignment about loading the DVD rental into the PostgreSQL that you would have downloaded into your system. So it is with the data querying language that you'll be carrying out any function that you want to carry out with that DVD rental database that you've uploaded into your PostgreSQL and downloaded. So, for instance, we have select star from table. Let's say we have about 15 tables in our DVD rental, and let's say, for instance, you need to make a selection. You need to have a preview of a particular table. Let's say like the actors table, so you can just have select star from actor. That's the name of the table. You know, when you have table name here, you simply replace it by the name of the table. So where, for instance, it is the name of the table is actor, select asterisk from actor. It gives you the actor table. Then you can go through it and query whatever, analyze whatever you need to analyze within the table. So we have an assignment here. Please try your best to do this assignment. I'll be requiring it as usual Sunday midnight. And yes, on before Sunday midnight. I'll also advise us to try out some of these commands that we have just looked at and see how you can apply them in your future queries. Thank you for staying with me to end of this lesson. See you in the next class.